Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, sipping your coffee, believing you have the perfect marriage, only to discover that the man you love, the one you've built a life with, has been living a complete double existence for years, with another family, another home, and secrets so deep they could shatter everything you know. This isn't a thriller movie, it's my real life, and the shocking truth I uncovered changed me forever. Stick around as I reveal how I exposed my husband's hidden world and reclaimed my own. My name is Emily Carter, and for the longest time, I thought I had the perfect life. It all started back in college, where I met David. He was the kind of guy who turned heads without even trying. Tall, with dark wavy hair, piercing blue eyes, and a smile that could light up the dimmest room. We were both studying business at the University of Chicago, and our paths crossed in a marketing class during our junior year. I remember the day vividly. He sat next to me during a group project, cracking jokes about the professor's outdated slides, and by the end of the session, we were laughing like old friends. David was charming, ambitious, and incredibly kind. He came from a modest background in a small town in Ohio, or so he told me. His parents had passed away young, and he'd worked his way through school with scholarships and part-time jobs. That resilience drew me to him. I, on the other hand, grew up in a bustling suburb of New York, with parents who owned a small bakery. Life had been comfortable for me, but David's stories of overcoming odds inspired me. We started dating shortly after that class, and it felt like fate. Our first date was at a little Italian place near campus, where we shared pasta and dreams about the future. He wanted to build a successful career in finance, travel the world, and eventually start a family. I dreamed of opening my own marketing firm and seeing the world too. It was as if our aspirations aligned perfectly. Fast forward 2 years, and we graduated together. David landed a job at a prestigious investment firm in Chicago, while I started at a mid-sized ad agency. We moved in together, into a cozy apartment overlooking Lake Michigan. Life was a whirlwind of late-night dinners, weekend getaways, and building our careers. David was always the supportive partner, bringing coffee during my all-nighters, surprising me with flowers on random Tuesdays. He proposed on our 3rd anniversary during a sunset cruise on the lake. The ring was simple but elegant, a solitaire diamond that he said he'd saved for months to afford. I said yes without hesitation, tears streaming down my face as the city skyline glittered behind us. Our wedding was a dream. We kept it intimate, with about 50 guests at a charming venue in the suburbs. My parents adored David. They called him the son they never had. His side of the family was sparse, just a few cousins and an aunt he rarely mentioned. He explained that most of his relatives had drifted apart after his parents' death in a car accident when he was a teenager. I didn't press. Grief was a personal thing. We honeymooned in Hawaii, where we lounged on beaches, hiked volcanoes, and made promises of forever. Coming back to reality, we bought a house in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Chicago, a 3-bedroom colonial with a white picket fence. It was our starter home, the foundation for the family we planned. The first few years of marriage were blissful. David rose quickly in his firm, becoming a senior analyst handling high-profile clients. He'd travel occasionally for work, conferences in New York, meetings in Boston, but never more than a few days at a time. I'd miss him, but we'd video call every night, sharing stories of our days. I advanced in my career too, eventually launching my own boutique marketing agency. We were the power couple our friends envied, successful, in love, and always hosting barbecues or game nights. We talked about kids often. David wanted 2, a boy and a girl, just like in the movies. We even started trying after our 5th anniversary, though without success yet. The doctors said it was stress-related, nothing serious. But looking back, there were tiny cracks I ignored. David was meticulous about his privacy. His phone was always locked, and he'd step out of the room for certain calls, saying they were confidential client matters. He'd come home late some evenings, smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't mine, but he'd brush it off as a colleague's overzealous hug. Once, I found a receipt for a hotel in Milwaukee, a city he hadn't mentioned visiting. He laughed it off, saying it was a mix-up from a business expense report. I believed him, because why wouldn't I? Trust was the bedrock of our marriage. As time went on, those late nights became more frequent. David started working on special projects that required weekend trips. He'd return exhausted but affectionate, showering me with gifts, a necklace from a boutique in Seattle, chocolates from a conference in Dallas. Our intimacy remained strong. He'd hold me close at night, whispering how much he loved me. But there was a distance growing, subtle, like a fog rolling in. I'd catch him staring off into space, lost in thought. When I'd ask, he'd smile and say it was just work stress. One evening, about 7 years into our marriage, everything shifted. I was cleaning out the garage, sorting through old boxes from our move. In one labeled David's Old Stuff, I found a stack of letters addressed to a Daniel Harper at an address in Detroit. The name sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it. The letters were from a bank, utility bills, even a birthday card from someone named Lisa. My heart skipped a beat. Who was Daniel Harper? And why were these in David's box? I confronted him that night over dinner. He paused, fork midway to his mouth, then chuckled. "Oh, that's an old alias from college. I used it for some freelance work to avoid taxes. Stupid kid stuff. Forgot those were there." It seemed plausible. College kids do dumb things. But a nagging doubt lingered. That doubt festered. I started paying closer attention. David's phone would buzz at odd hours and he'd silence it quickly. Once, when he was in the shower, a text popped up. "Miss you. Can't wait for next weekend. Love, L." I froze, my mind racing. Who was L? I didn't snoop further. Guilt washed over me, but sleep evaded me that night. The next morning, I casually asked about his upcoming trip. "Just a quick meeting in Philly," he said, kissing my forehead. But his calendar app, which synced to mine, showed nothing. Lies were stacking up. I decided to dig deeper. Hiring a private investigator felt extreme, but my best friend Sarah suggested it after I confided in her. "Better safe than sorry," she said. I contacted a discreet PI named Mike through a recommendation. He was a burly ex-cop with a no-nonsense attitude. "Give me a week," he said. That week was agony. I went through the motions at work, smiling for clients while my mind churned with worst-case scenarios. Was it an affair? Gambling? Something criminal? Mike called me to his office. He slid a folder across the desk, his face grim. "Your husband's name isn't David Carter. It's Daniel Harper, and he's got another life in Detroit." My world tilted. Photos spilled out. David, no, Daniel, with a woman and 2 children, a boy about 5 and a girl around 3. They were at a park, laughing, the picture of family bliss. Another showed him entering a house in a suburban neighborhood, carrying groceries. Bank statements revealed 2 accounts, one joint with me, another with Lisa Harper. He had a job in Detroit, too, as a financial consultant for a different firm. It was a double life, meticulously balanced. Shock numbed me. How? Why? Mike explained. Daniel had fabricated his backstory. His parents were alive, living in Ohio under the Harper name. The car accident was a cover. He'd married Lisa 8 years ago, a year before meeting me. They had kids while he courted me. His travels weren't business, they were commutes between lives. I felt sick, betrayed on a cellular level. Tears blurred my vision as I drove home. That night, David came home cheerful, oblivious. "Hey babe, what's for dinner?" I forced a smile, but inside, rage simmered. I needed proof, more than photos. I started my own investigation. Subtle at first. I checked our finances. Subtle withdrawals explained as expenses. I cloned his phone using an app Sarah recommended, feeling like a spy in my own marriage. Texts flooded in, loving messages to Lisa, plans for family vacations. He called her honey just like me. Photos of the kids, our kids in another life. The boy looked like David with those same blue eyes. Confrontation loomed, but I waited, gathering strength. One weekend, he said he had a conference in Boston. I knew better. He was heading to Detroit. I followed him, renting a car and trailing at a distance. The drive was 4 hours of white-knuckled tension. I watched him pull into a driveway of a neat brick house. Lisa greeted him at the door, kids jumping into his arms. It was real. My husband was a bigamist, a liar, a fraud. That night, in a motel room, I cried until dawn. How had I missed this? The signs were there. The privacy, the trips, the vague stories. But love blinds you. Now, eyes open, I planned my next move. Divorce, exposure, revenge, all swirled in my mind.
Affected us. I confided in Sarah more. She was my rock, a single mom who'd been through her own divorce. You need a lawyer, she urged. I found one, Rebecca Klein, a sharp family attorney specializing in fraud cases. Our first meeting was in her sleek downtown office. I laid out the folder from Mike, plus my own findings. Rebecca's eyes widened. This is bigamy, Emily. Illegal in every state. We can nail him for fraud, too. Financial deception. She outlined options: annulment, divorce, even pressing charges. But first, more proof. Get bank records, marriage certificates. Hacking into his email felt wrong, but necessity overrode guilt. Using a password I'd guessed from his patterns, his dead mother's birthday, I accessed his accounts. There it was, a marriage license to Lisa dated a year before ours. Tax returns filed separately claiming dependents, the kids. He had life insurance policies for both families. It was calculated, cold. How long had he planned this? Did he love either of us, or was it the thrill? Confronting him directly terrified me. What if he gaslit me, denied everything, or worse, became violent? Mike had assured me Daniel had no criminal record, but secrets breed unpredictability. I installed hidden cameras in our home, small ones from an online spy shop. They captured mundane moments, but also calls where he'd switch personas, stern with work, loving with Lisa, affectionate with me. One evening, he left his laptop open. I snooped, finding a hidden folder labeled Work Docs. Inside, photos of Lisa's pregnancy, kids' birth certificates naming Daniel Harper as father, school records, doctor's notes, a whole life documented. My hands shook as I copied files to a USB. This was it, irrefutable. But doubt crept in. Was there an explanation? Maybe he was undercover, a spy. Ridiculous. Or separated from Lisa, but the recent text said otherwise. I called his aunt from the wedding, the only family I'd met. Her number was in his contacts. "Hello?" an elderly voice answered. I introduced myself. "David's aunt? I'm Emily, his wife." Silence. "David? You mean Daniel? His wife is Lisa." My heart plummeted. She spilled. Daniel had told them about Lisa and the kids, but never mentioned me. To them, I didn't exist. That revelation fueled my anger. I started therapy, seeing Dr. Elena Ruiz twice a week. She helped unpack the betrayal. This isn't about you, Emily. It's his pathology, perhaps narcissism, compartmentalization. Sessions were raw. I'd cry, rage, question my judgment. How had I fallen for this? Dr. Ruiz reminded me, liars are skilled. Love makes us vulnerable. Meanwhile, life continued. David planned a surprise anniversary trip to Napa. To reconnect, he said. I feigned excitement, but inside I plotted. During the trip, I'd confront him with evidence. But first, I met Lisa, anonymously, of course. Using a burner phone, I messaged her from info I'd gleaned. Your husband is cheating. Meet me at the coffee shop on Elm Street, Detroit, tomorrow at 2. Risky, but I needed her side. She showed, a pretty brunette, mid-30s, looking nervous. I approached, introducing myself as a friend of Daniel's colleague. I have information about your husband. Her eyes widened as I showed photos of me and David at our wedding. He's married to me too, calls himself David Carter. She gasped, tears flowing. No, we've been together 10 years, 2 kids. We talked for hours. He'd believed traveling for work, just like me. He'd woven the same web. Dead parents, modest background. We were mirrors, both duped. Lisa was devastated but strong. We have to end this, she said. We exchanged numbers, planning to coordinate. Back home, David noticed my distraction. Everything okay, babe? I nodded, but suspicion flickered in his eyes. Was he on to me? Tension built. One night he came home late, reeking of wine. Client dinner, he claimed, but a text from Lisa confirmed he'd been with her. I snapped. Where were you really? He deflected. We argued, the first real fight in years. You're paranoid, he accused. I held back the truth, biding time. Rebecca filed for annulment quietly, citing fraud. We froze joint accounts. Mike tailed Daniel more, uncovering a third bank account, savings for emergencies, perhaps an escape fund. As the web unraveled, I reflected on our happy years. Vacations, holidays, all tainted. Christmas with my family? While he texted his other one. Birthdays where he'd vanish for work. The infertility, maybe deliberate to avoid more complications. Lisa and I met again, this time with lawyers. We compared notes, similar proposal stories, same pet names. It was eerie. The kids complicated things. They adored their dad. How to break their world. Confrontation day arrived. I chose our home, neutral ground. Lisa agreed to come, kids with a sitter. David walked in, seeing us both. His face paled. What's going on? We laid it out. Photos, documents, truths. He denied at first. This is a mistake. But evidence overwhelmed. He crumbled, admitting everything. Why? I demanded. Tears in his eyes. I love you both. Couldn't choose. Bullshit. It was control. Ego. Police were called. Bigamy charges pending. He left in cuffs, begging forgiveness. With Daniel in custody, the house felt empty, echoes of our life mocking me. Police searched, finding more. Fake IDs, hidden cash. He was Daniel Harper legally, David Carter an alias crafted with forged documents. How deep did this go? Investigators uncovered he'd done this before. A short-lived marriage in his 20s ended quietly. A pattern of deception. Media caught wind. Chicago man leads double life. 2 wives shocked. Headlines screamed betrayal. Reporters camped outside, flashing cameras. I hid, drawing curtains, ignoring calls. My agency suffered. Clients whispered. Sarah fielded press. No comment. Lisa faced similar in Detroit. Neighbors gossiping, kids confused. Dr. Ruiz intensified sessions. You're grieving illusion, she said. I mourned the man I thought I knew, the future stolen. Nights were sleepless, replaying memories. Our first kiss under Chicago stars, fake? Intimate moments, shared with another? Lisa and I bonded over shared pain. We met weekly, via video or in person. How do we tell the kids, she worried. Her boy, Tommy, asked for daddy daily. Her girl, Sophie, too young to understand. I envied her motherhood, then felt guilty. We'd never had kids. Now I knew why. Daniel had a vasectomy after Sophie, hidden from me. Court proceedings began. Daniel pled guilty to bigamy, fraud. Sentencing loomed, up to 5 years. Rebecca pushed for restitution, half our assets to me, half to Lisa. But money couldn't heal. I visited him in jail, needing closure. Through glass, he looked broken, unkempt, eyes hollow. Emily, I loved you. I scoffed. You loved the lie. He explained. Started with Lisa, but met me during a break. Fell for both, couldn't let go. Compartmentalized lives like business deals. I'm sorry. Too late. Back home, I purged. His clothes donated, photos burned. Redecorated, claiming space. Started yoga, journaling, small steps to rebuild. Friends rallied. A girls' trip to Florida. Sun, laughter, healing. Sarah shared her divorce stories. It gets better. Slowly, it did. Work rebounded. Clients admired my resilience. But twists emerged. Mike found another woman, ex-girlfriend in Ohio. No marriage, but shared bank account. Daniel's web wider. Prosecutors added charges. Lisa divorced too, gaining custody. We planned a joint confrontation for the kids someday, age-appropriate truths. As trial neared, Daniel's parents appeared, real ones, alive. They testified, disowning him. We raised him better. Shocking, they'd known about Lisa, not me.
Sentencing day, courtroom packed. Judge stern, your actions destroyed lives. 3 years prison, fines. Daniel wept. I felt nothing, numb justice. Post-trial, media frenzy peaked. I gave one interview. Betrayal hurts, but I'm stronger. It empowered me. Life normalized. Dated casually. A nice guy from work. No rush. Focused on agency growth. Yet scars remained. Trust issues surfaced. Dr. Ruiz helped. Healing isn't linear. 1 year later, a letter from prison. Daniel's apologies, therapy insights. I was broken. I burned it, moving on. In the aftermath of the arrest, the revelations kept coming like waves crashing against a fragile shore. The police investigation uncovered layers I hadn't imagined. Daniel's double life wasn't just about 2 families. It was a meticulously constructed empire of deceit. Bank records showed he had siphoned funds from his jobs, nothing illegal enough for embezzlement charges, but clever accounting that padded his secret accounts. He'd invested in stocks under aliases, building a nest egg worth over $500,000. Half of that was meant for retirement with Lisa, the other for adventures with Emily. It made me sick to think of it, us as line items in his twisted budget. Lisa and I hired a forensic accountant to trace every penny. We discovered he'd taken vacations alone, or so we thought, but photos from his cloud storage, accessed with a warrant, showed him with other women, flings during business trips. Not full lives, but enough to shatter any remnants of fidelity. He played us all, Lisa said during one of our tearful calls. Her kids were struggling. Tommy asked for daddy daily. Her girl, Sophie, too young to understand. I envied her motherhood, then felt guilty. We'd never had kids. Now I knew why. Daniel had a vasectomy after Sophie, hidden from me.
Tommy had behavioral issues at school, lashing out. Sophie clung to her mother, asking why Daddy was on a long trip. We consulted child psychologists, crafting scripts for age-appropriate explanations. Daddy made mistakes and has to learn from them, we settled on. My own family was a mixed bag. My parents were heartbroken, having loved David like a son. Mom baked endlessly, comfort food as her coping mechanism. Dad wanted to punch the bastard, but I talked him down. Siblings called daily, offering support. But the pity in their voices stung. Poor Emily, the duped wife. Work became my refuge. I threw myself into campaigns, landing a big client for a national brand. Success felt like revenge, but burnout loomed. Dr. Ruiz prescribed self-care, walks in the park, reading novels untouched for years. Socially, friends divided. Some distanced, uncomfortable with the drama. Others rallied, organizing Emily empowerment nights, wine, movies, no man talk. Sarah introduced me to a support group for betrayal survivors. Hearing stories, affairs, hidden addictions, normalized my pain. You're not alone, the facilitator said. As the trial approached, anxiety spiked. Testifying meant reliving it all. Rebecca prepped me. Stay factual, emotional, but composed. The day came, courtroom air thick with tension. Daniel in orange jumpsuit, shackled. Our eyes met. He looked away. I recounted discoveries, voice steady. Lisa followed, her testimony mirroring mine. The jury's faces, shock, sympathy. Daniel's defense painted him as troubled, product of a dysfunctional childhood. His parents testified against that. We gave him everything. Revelations, Daniel had lied about their death to sever ties, embarrassed by their blue-collar life. Guilty verdict, relief washed over me. Sentencing, prison time, asset forfeiture. Post-trial, I traveled, solo trip to Europe, reclaiming independence. Paris cafes, Roman ruins, solitude healed. Back home, a new chapter. I started writing a blog anonymously, sharing my story. It went viral, connecting with thousands. Book offers came, I considered. Lisa remarried a kind teacher. Kids thrived. We stayed friends, our bond forged in fire. Prison visits became a ritual I didn't want but needed. Daniel's letters begged for forgiveness. Curiosity drew me. Behind glass, he'd plead, I can change. I'd listen, then leave stronger. Eventually, I stopped going. Closure achieved. Financially, recovery was slow. Assets divided, I sold the house. Too many ghosts. Bought a condo downtown. Modern. Mine. Invested wisely. Agency booming. Dating terrified me. First post-Daniel date, coffee with Mark, a colleague. Nice, but I bolted when he mentioned travel. Too soon, Dr. Ruiz said. I focused on self. Gym, hobbies, volunteering at a women's shelter. Empowering others healed me. Media faded. Life quieted. But a bombshell, Daniel's appeal. New evidence. He claimed coercion into bigamy by debts. Lies. Court denied. Sentence upheld. Lisa's update. Kids adjusting. Therapy helping. Tommy drew pictures of 2 moms. Us. Touching. Years passed. At 40, I met Alex at a conference. Cautious. Honest. We dated slowly, building trust. He knew my story. Didn't flinch. Reflecting, the double life taught resilience. I emerged wiser, fiercer. The confrontation with the abyss wasn't just about Daniel, it was facing my own vulnerabilities. In the months following the trial, I delved into self-discovery, joined a book club, reading memoirs of survival, strength, and stories, traveled more, Asia, Africa, seeing worlds beyond my bubble. Professionally, I expanded the agency, hiring staff, mentoring young women. Trust your gut, I'd advise. Socially, new friends, diverse, supportive. Old ones who stuck proved true. Romantically, Alex was patient. Our first trip, weekend getaway. No secrets, open phones. Trust rebuilt. Daniel paroled after 2 years. He reached out, I blocked. Lisa did same. Life flourished. Alex proposed, I said yes. Small wedding, real love. Kids, adopted a girl, Mia. Motherhood fulfilled. The shocking truth uncovered not just his lies, but my strength. With Mia in my arms, life felt renewed. Alex was a doting dad. Our home filled with laughter. The past faded, a chapter closed. Agency went national. I authored a book called Double Lives, Surviving Betrayal. Bestseller, tours inspiring. Lisa's family thrived. We visited, kids playing like cousins. Daniel, rumors of him starting over, alone. Pity, but no contact. At 45, I looked back. The shocking uncovering was a gift. Rebirth. Happiness wasn't perfect, but authentic. No more secrets. The new dawn brought unexpected joys and challenges. Mia grew fast, her curiosity endless. Mommy, why do you write about bad people?
Men? She'd ask. I'd explain simply, to help others be strong. Alex and I traveled as a family. Beaches, mountains, memories pure. Business-wise, partnerships formed, mentored startups, gave back. Personal growth continued. Meditation, art classes, discovered painting, therapy on canvas. Friendships deepened. Sarah, my maid of honor at wedding. Occasional flashbacks, a song, a scent, but tools from therapy grounded me. Lisa and I co-founded a support network for fraud victims, helping hundreds. Daniel surfaced once, apology email, deleted unread. Life's tapestry richer for the tears. The shocking truth? It set me free. As years rolled, Mia teenaged, Alex and I grayed. Grandkids eventually, dreams anew. The story, once painful, became my power. Shared, it healed. My name is Emily Carter, and even years after uncovering my husband's secret double life, the echoes of that betrayal still lingered in unexpected ways, shaping the woman I had become. Stronger, yet forever changed. Mia, my adopted daughter, was now 8, her laughter filling our home like sunlight piercing through storm clouds. And one morning, as she prepared for school, she asked about the family tree project, probing into the past I had carefully curated for her young mind, mentioning the man from my book, the one before Alex, her dad. And I explained gently that he had made mistakes that hurt people, but it had taught me resilience, and she accepted it with the innocence of childhood, bounding off without a second thought while I sat there, stirring my coffee, memories flooding back like an unbidden tide. Alex, my steadfast husband now, noticed my distant gaze that evening as we tucked Mia in.
his hand on my shoulder a grounding force, and we talked late into the night about how far we'd come, from the ruins of my first marriage to this beautiful life we'd built, brick by brick, with trust earned through time and transparency. Work at the agency thrived. My book, Double Lives, Surviving Betrayal, inspiring workshops and speaking engagements across the country, where I'd share my story not as a victim, but as a survivor, connecting with women and men who had faced similar deceptions, their emails pouring in with gratitude, reminding me that pain could transform into purpose. Lisa, my unlikely ally from that other life, stayed in touch, her family flourishing in Detroit, Tommy, now a teenager, excelling in soccer, Sophie, a budding artist, and we'd video call occasionally, laughing about the absurdity of it all, how two women duped by the same man had become friends, our bond a testament to human resilience. Daniel, or David as I'd known him, had been paroled years ago, rumors reaching me through mutual acquaintances that he lived quietly in Ohio, working a mundane job, perhaps in repentance or simply defeat. But I chose not to dwell, blocking any attempts at contact, focusing instead on the present. Therapy with Dr. Ruiz continued sporadically, a maintenance for the soul, where we dissect lingering triggers, like a certain cologne or a late-night phone buzz, like old friends revisiting familiar paths, ensuring the scars didn't reopen. Socially, our circle expanded, weekends filled with barbecues and playdates, Alex's friends blending with mine, creating a tapestry of support that felt unbreakable. One particular echo came during a family vacation to Hawaii, the same place David had proposed, but now with Alex and Mia, we made new memories, snorkeling in crystal waters, building sandcastles at sunset, reclaiming the location as ours, not his. Mia's questions evolved as she grew, delving deeper into ethics and trust, prompting discussions around the dinner table about honesty in relationships, lessons I imparted with the wisdom of experience. The agency hit a milestone, expanding to a second office in New York, my hometown roots calling me back for business trips that doubled as visits to my parents, who doted on Mia, baking cookies and sharing stories of my childhood, a reminder of the stable foundation I'd always had. Lisa and I collaborated on a podcast episode, Sisterhood in Survival, where we shared our intertwined tales anonymously at first, but the response was overwhelming, leading to more episodes, a side project that healed us further. Alex surprised me on our anniversary with a vow of renewal, intimate on a Chicago lakeside, echoing but redeeming the past, his words of commitment washing away old doubts. Challenges arose, like when Mia's school project unearthed an old news article about the scandal, prompting a tearful conversation where I explained bigamy and deception in age-appropriate terms, assuring her that our family was real and unbreakable. Professional accolades followed, a feature in a women's magazine highlighting my journey from betrayal to empowerment, photos of me confident and smiling, a far cry from the shattered woman of years past. Friendships with Sarah deepened, her own life blooming with a new partner, and we'd reminisce over wine about the night I confessed my suspicions, grateful for her unwavering support. Daniel's parents reached out once, an awkward letter apologizing for their son's actions, which I read but didn't respond to, closure not requiring their validation. Mia took up piano, her melodies filling the house, a soundtrack to our daily life, and watching her perform at recitals swelled my heart with pride, a joy David had denied me in his duplicity. Business travels took me to conferences where I'd network and inspire, always carrying a photo of Alex and Mia as my anchor. Lisa's remarriage brought joy, attending her wedding a full-circle moment, our kids playing together like cousins, the past's pain transmuted into present bonds. Echoes faded with time, but they shaped my advocacy work, volunteering at shelters for abused women, offering legal advice drawn from my ordeal. Alex and I planned for the future, perhaps another adoption, dreams expanding as Mia grew.
The shocking truth I uncovered years ago wasn't the end. It was the catalyst for a life richer, more authentic, filled with love that was earned, not illusory. As December 15th, 2025 approached, marking another year, I reflected on gratitude for the lessons, the growth, the family that emerged from the ashes. Reflections on a decade gone by. As December 15th, 2025 dawned crisp and cold in Chicago, with the light dusting of snow blanketing the city like a fresh start, I found myself standing by the window of our downtown condo, sipping hot coffee and watching the world awaken, reflecting on the decade that had passed since the shattering revelation of Daniel's double life, a period that had transformed me from a broken woman into a pillar of strength, surrounded by love, purpose, and unyielding resolve. Mia, now a precocious teenager at 13, burst into the kitchen with her usual energy, her hair tied back in a ponytail, chattering about her upcoming school debate on ethics in relationships, a topic that hit close to home. And she turned to me with those inquisitive eyes, asking for insights from my experiences, prompting me to share edited versions of my story, emphasizing the importance of trust and self-worth, lessons I'd learned the hard way, but now passed on like heirlooms. Alex, ever the supportive partner, joined us at the breakfast table, his graying temples a testament to the years we'd shared, and we laughed about how far we'd come, from tentative dates to a solid marriage built on open communication, where no secret was too small to discuss, a stark contrast to the web of lies that had once ensnared me. The agency had evolved into a national powerhouse, with branches in New York, Los Angeles, and now Seattle, employing over 100 talented individuals, many of whom I'd mentored personally, instilling in them the value of intuition in business and life, drawing from my own journey of uncovering deception in what I thought was a perfect union. My book had spawned a series, the second installment, Rebuilding After Betrayal, becoming a bestseller, leading to TED Talks and international speaking tours, where I'd stand on stages in London, Sydney, and Tokyo, sharing my tale not as a tragedy, but as a triumph, connecting with audiences who nodded in recognition, their own scars mirroring mine. Lisa remained a close confidant, our friendship enduring through life's twists. Her children, Tommy now in college studying psychology, ironically to understand minds like his father's, and Sophie pursuing art in Paris, had become like extended family, with annual reunions where we'd reminisce over wine, marveling at how two victims had turned their pain into a powerful alliance, even co-authoring an article for a major magazine on the psychology of bigamy. Daniel's shadow occasionally loomed, like when a mutual acquaintance mentioned spotting him in a small Ohio town, running a modest financial advisory service under a new name, apparently reformed through years of therapy and solitude. But I chose indifference over curiosity, having long ago released the hold his betrayal had on my heart. Therapy sessions with Dr. Ruiz had tapered to annual check-ins where we'd celebrate progress, dissecting how I'd turned triggers into triumphs, like transforming the scent of his old cologne from a panic inducer to a neutral reminder of growth. Social circles had expanded richly, with Alex and me hosting elaborate dinner parties featuring global cuisines we'd discovered on our travels, from the spices of India to the pastries of France, each gathering a celebration of authentic connections free from facade. One poignant echo resurfaced during Mia's 13th birthday party, a lavish affair at a lakeside venue reminiscent of my ill-fated proposal spot, but now reclaimed with joy as friends and family toasted to her future. And in a quiet moment, Mia pulled me aside, whispering her thanks for adopting me, for giving her a stable home unlike the fractured one I'd escaped, her words melting any residual ice around my heart. Professional milestones continued to pile up, with the agency landing a contract for a Fortune 500 company, a campaign focused on transparency and branding, a theme I championed with fervor born from personal experience. And the success led to awards, including a spot on a list of top female entrepreneurs, an honor I accepted with humility, dedicating it to women everywhere who'd risen from ashes. Lisa and I expanded our support network into a nonprofit foundation, Truth Unveiled, offering resources for those ensnared in deceptive relationships, from legal aid to counseling, funded by donations and proceeds from our books, impacting thousands and earning us recognition from women's advocacy groups. Alex surprised me with a second honeymoon to Greece, where we wandered ancient ruins, pondering the timelessness of human folly and redemption, our conversations deep and affirming, solidifying our bond as unbreakable. Challenges weren't absent. Mia hit typical teen rebellions, testing boundaries with late nights and secretive texts, echoing faint paranoia from my past. But open dialogues and family therapy nipped issues in the bud, turning potential conflicts into strengthening exercises. A business hiccup arose when a client pulled out due to economic downturns, but resilience kicked in, pivoting to digital marketing innovations that not only recovered losses, but propelled growth. Friendships with Sarah blossomed further, her own family expanding with twins, and our girls' nights evolved into family outings, blending our worlds seamlessly. Daniel's parents sent a tentative Christmas card one year, expressing regret and wishing well, which I responded to politely, offering forgiveness without reconnection, a final thread severed with grace. Mia's interests diversified, from debate club to volunteering at our foundation, where she'd assist in workshops, her empathy shining as she listened to stories similar to mine, fostering a sense of purpose early on. Travels as a family took us to Africa for a safari, marveling at wildlife's raw honesty, a metaphor for the authenticity I now demanded in life. The foundation hosted its first gala, raising substantial funds, with Lisa and me as co-hosts, dressed in elegant gowns, toasting to survival and sisterhood amid cheers from supporters. Alex and I considered expanding our family again, perhaps through fostering, discussions filled with excitement and caution, ensuring we were ready. Reflections deepened as the year closed, journaling becoming a nightly ritual, chronicling gratitudes for Alex's unwavering love, Mia's vibrant spirit, the agency's success, Lisa's friendship, and even the betrayal that catalyzed it all, a decade's perspective revealing it as the forge that tempered my soul. Holidays brought warmth, decorating the tree with ornaments from our travels, each one a story of post-betrayal adventures. And as snow fell outside, we gathered around the fire, sharing dreams for the future, mine including a third book on long-term healing. The shocking truth uncovered so long ago had not defined me. Instead, it liberated me to live fully, authentically, surrounded by truths I could trust, a life woven from threads of resilience, love, and unyielding hope. Embracing eternity's horizon. As the calendar flipped to December 15, 2030, 5 years beyond that reflective winter morning in 2025, I, Emily Carter, stood on the balcony of our expanded family home overlooking Lake Michigan, the waves whispering secrets of time's relentless march, contemplating how the shocking uncovering of Daniel's double life had not merely been a chapter, but the pivotal plot twist that redefined my entire narrative, propelling me into a future brimming with accomplishments, deeper connections, and an unshakable sense of self that no deception could ever erode again. Mia, now an 18-year-old young woman on the cusp of college, had blossomed into a fierce advocate for truth and empathy, majoring in journalism with a minor in psychology. Her senior thesis exploring the societal impacts of hidden lives and betrayals, drawing subtly from our family's history without exposing raw details. And as she packed for her dorm at Northwestern University, we shared tearful hugs and late-night talks, where I'd recount more unfiltered versions of my ordeal, empowering her to navigate relationships with open eyes and a guarded heart. Alex, my rock through it all, had retired early from his engineering career to pursue woodworking, crafting beautiful pieces that adorned our home and sold at local markets, his hands calloused yet gentle as ever.
and our marriage, now approaching its 15th anniversary, had weathered minor storms, like the empty nest syndrome looming, but emerged stronger, fortified by annual retreats where we'd renew vows and dream anew, his unwavering honesty a balm to my once wounded soul. The agency, rebranded as Carter Insights, had gone global, with offices in Europe and Asia, employing a diverse team of over 500, specializing in ethical marketing and fraud detection consultations, a niche born from my personal saga. And I'd stepped back to an advisory role, allowing younger leaders to steer while I focused on philanthropy, channeling profits into scholarships for women overcoming adversity. My book series had expanded to 5 volumes, the latest, Echoes of Truth, A Decade of Healing, chronicling the long-term effects of betrayal, complete with contributions from survivors worldwide. And speaking engagements took me to TEDx stages and university lectures, where audiences hung on every word, their applause a chorus affirming that my pain had purpose, inspiring countless others to confront their own shadows. Lisa, my sister in survival, had relocated to Chicago after her husband's job transfer, our families intertwining like vines, with Tommy, now a licensed therapist, helping families mend, and Sophie exhibiting her art in galleries, her pieces often abstract representations of duality and revelation. And our joint foundation, Truth Unveiled, had grown into a multi-million-dollar organization offering retreats, online courses, and legal support networks, hosting annual summits where Daniel's story served as a cautionary tale, without bitterness, only lessons. Daniel himself had faded into obscurity, last heard of through a distant relative's update as living a solitary life in a rural cabin, authoring self-published memoirs on redemption that sold modestly, his attempts at amends rebuffed by us all. Yet I harbored no malice, viewing him as a catalyst for my evolution rather than a villain, his double life the forge that hammered my resilience into unbreakable steel. Therapy had become a cherished ritual, Dr. Ruiz now a dear friend attending family events, our sessions evolving from healing wounds to celebrating victories, dissecting how triggers had transformed into triumphs, like turning a suspicious late-night call into a moment of gratitude for Alex's transparency. Socially, our world was a vibrant mosaic, with lifelong friends like Sarah hosting grand reunions, her twins now energetic preteens adding chaos and joy, and new acquaintances from global travels enriching our perspectives, from artists in Paris to entrepreneurs in Tokyo, each connection a reminder that authentic bonds outshine any facade. One profound milestone came during Mia's high school graduation, where she delivered a valedictorian speech on the power of truth, subtly nodding to my journey, and in the audience, tears streamed as I realized her strength stemmed from the very betrayal that once shattered me, a beautiful inheritance of fortitude. Professionally, accolades accumulated, a Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Marketing Association, features in Forbes and Time highlighting my pivot from victim to visionary, and collaborations with tech firms developing AI tools for detecting financial fraud.
Inspired by Daniel's deceptions, Lisa and I launched a documentary series on streaming platforms, Unveiled Lives, interviewing others with similar stories. The first episode focusing on bigamy's emotional toll, garnering millions of views and sparking global conversations on trust in the digital age. Alex and I adopted a second child, a boy named Ethan from foster care, his arrival at age 5 infusing our home with fresh energy, playdates and bedtime stories rekindling the joys of parenthood. His innocent questions about family mirroring Mia's once, handled with the wisdom of experience. Challenges persisted, like a health scare with Alex's minor heart procedure, testing our vows in sickness and health, but it only deepened our appreciation for each day, prompting wellness routines and spontaneous adventures from hiking the Appalachians to sailing the Mediterranean. The Foundation's impact rippled outward, partnering with international NGOs to support women and deceptive marriages across cultures, advocacy trips to India and Africa broadening my worldview, witnessing stories that echoed mine yet varied in context, reinforcing humanity's shared vulnerabilities.
Mia's college years brought independence, her internships at media outlets leading to bylines on social issues, and our weekly calls filled with pride as she navigated first loves and heartbreaks, armed with advice from my hard-won insights. As 2035 approached, marking 2 decades since the revelation, I penned a reflective essay for a major publication, 20 Years Unmasked, pondering how the shocking truth had unraveled one life to weave a tapestry far richer with threads of love, success, and service intertwining. Holidays evolved into grand affairs, blending families, Lisa's, Sarah's, and ours, around feasts of gratitude, Ethan's laughter mingling with Mia's home visits, creating memories untainted by past lies. Daniel's final echo came via a posthumous letter delivered after his quiet passing from illness, expressing remorse and acknowledging the lives he upended, which I read in solitude, offering silent forgiveness before archiving it, closure complete without fanfare. Retirement loomed appealingly, Alex and I planning a world tour, leaving the agency in capable hands, while the foundation thrived under new leadership, my role shifting to emeritus inspiration. Ethan's curiosity about his origins prompted open discussions on adoption and blended families, fostering empathy early, much like Mia's upbringing. Reflections in my journal captured essence. The double life exposed wasn't just Daniel's, but the hidden potential within me, unleashed through adversity. As sunsets painted the horizon, I'd walk hand in hand with Alex, Ethan skipping ahead, Mia calling from afar, heart full, knowing the journey from betrayal to bliss was worth every tear. And now, dear listener, if this tale of uncovering shocking truths and rising triumphant has resonated with you, subscribe to Real Life Story TV for more gripping real-life stories that inspire and empower. Hit that like button, share your own experiences in the comments, and join our community of survivors turning pain into power today.